everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Mogul Bar Show. With me, I have a special guest. I have Brandon Miller, a recently retired former professional soccer player who is making his transition into the world. And not just the world, because that sounds really just like he wasn't a part of the world. He was, but he's sort of leaving his athletic endeavors in the past and moving on to the business world while still keeping intertwined. And so I think this is going to be a very interesting conversation. I spoke to you a couple days ago and we sort of caught up, and I really like some of the things that you're working on. But Brandon, why don't you go ahead and just introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so I appreciate you having me on the show. I'm really excited to sit down and chat for a little bit. So I'm Brandon Miller. I played professional soccer for 10 years in the United Soccer League. Won a championship, won a number of individual awards. I've had a pretty successful professional career. During that career, I also spent some time. I started up my own business called Focus Goalkeeping, which is a goalkeeper-specific soccer brand. And we sell gloves, apparel, and have online work and things like that. So I started that about 5 years ago. Been running that ever since, and it's been growing, which has been good. I'm excited about that. So it gave me a little bit of a taste of the business world and what kind of gave me an idea of what I want to be involved in outside of my career and post-career. So with that, coupled with a lot of the nonprofit work I've been doing over the past couple of years, it's just kept me pretty busy. But now that I'm retired and I'm transitioning out of playing and moving more towards business world, I'm going back to school to get my MBA starting in March, which I'm excited about. And so, really just at this point, hoping to find my area within the soccer world where I can continue to be impactful, but hopefully from the other side of the field now.
What was the decision like for you? And I'm always interested in this decision because I always, it's a huge leap to decide. You were successful, so it's easy to want to continue doing what you were doing because you were successful. What was that decision like? What was that process? Was this just sort of I wake up one day and I'm like, okay, I'm done? Or was it like a long drawn out process of let me really think about this, let me sleep on it for quite some time, let me go here? What was that process like to finally decide to step away from a game that you clearly loved, or you would have done it for so long, both on the amateur and professional level? Walk me through that.
Well, it was mainly it was a process because I've always known. Well, I got my business degree in marketing in undergrad, so I've always had an appetite for business. And once I started my business and it started growing and I started seeing benefits from it, I wanted to learn more, and I started branching out and doing more within the business and outside of the business as well. I just found myself, at the beginning of this year, I found myself at a crossroads. I was waking up every day, and I kept the first thing on my mind was business, and it wasn't going to training. And it wasn't to say I didn't love going to training. It was just that my focus was more so on, what I need to get done with the business for the day, how I could expand my business opportunities and my network and continue to grow my business there. And, the year before, I remember my main focus was I wanted to reestablish myself as one of the top goalkeepers in the league. And so that's what I was focused on all of 2020. And obviously with the pandemic, things got thrown off a little bit, but I was still able to have be a finalist for Goalkeeper of the Year that year and be second team all league. So, that was my focus then. And then I found myself in 2021. I just couldn't take my mind off business. And so I kept waking up every morning and it felt more like a chore or a burden to go to practice as opposed to me really loving to go to practice. I felt like I was losing, 4 hours of the day because I had to, be at practice at 8 and I wasn't getting home until 12, 1 o'clock. At best. And so I just realized that I couldn't continue to stretch myself and expect the best results in both worlds. And I realized that, I achieved a lot in my professional career. I, won awards and championships and played a number of games and done all this stuff. And I realized at this point, I'm not really chasing anything else. I don't really need to prove anything to anyone, to myself or to anyone else. And so I realized, now it's time to I can be more impactful, and it's time for me to step off the field and really explore my business opportunities and see what I can do for the game of soccer on the other side of the ball, I guess.
Nice. Um, so you have your company that you started. You're getting your MBA. What's the next big step? Because in a lot of people's minds, okay, you have a business already. What else do you need? What else do you want? But you have bigger goals. You have, your goals aren't just limited to having this business that's selling apparel. You have more, you have grander, bigger goals than just, your company that you have started. Like, talk us through like what's going to be the next steps for Brandon Miller in the next 3 to 5 years, aside from just getting your MBA. um where do you see yourself going? Will you still be involved with the game of soccer in a business capacity?
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely will be. I think, when I talk about my business, like I've run a small business for 5 years now, and it's done well, but it is, it's a small business, right? I want to be impactful across the entire landscape of soccer, and my business is targeted mainly for goalkeepers, right? So I could stay in that niche and work to dominate that niche, but that's not really something that I want to be, labeled as just a goalkeeper brand or just the owner of a goalkeeper brand. Like, I want to be more impactful within the entire soccer community in multiple facets. Like, that's with everything that I've done, whether it's the formation of the Black Players Alliance or the founding of the Anti-Racist Soccer Club, or working with other nonprofits like Heal Charlotte or Young Investor Society. Like, my goal is to be more impactful on a larger scale. And so that's one reason why I want to get my MBA. I want to continue learning as a businessman, but I also want to be able to apply a lot of what I learned to the soccer world and to help soccer clubs grow, help soccer leagues grow. I want to be impactful at every level: the youth level, the college level, the professional level. And I believe I have the skill sets to do that. Now it's about getting experience. Now it's about proving that and getting that experience. And so over the next 3 to 5 years, focus on getting my MBA, but also focus on building my network and focus on getting the experience that I need to reach the upper echelons of soccer, so that I can start to make the decisions that are going to be most impactful. Where I am right now, I have a good network, and I've done a good amount of work within the soccer community, but I want to be running things at some point. I want to be, an executive with a club or an executive with a league, where I can start to, be in boardrooms and have conversations that, people like me aren't privy to oftentimes currently. So that's the 3 to 5 year goal is to get as much experience as possible, so I can reach higher levels.
So maybe one day we'll see Brandon Miller, the club owner, potentially, and providing opportunities for other people like yourself.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I've had that target for a while. I worked on an expansion project back in 2020, where we were looking to bring a club to a city, and I was
Nice.
interested in being a part of an investment group that would be majority owner of that project. I mean, that's definitely a goal you want. Being an owner would be something that would definitely excite me, and it's one of those things where people talk about being an owner and people criticize owners for the decisions that they make, and oftentimes owners are like, hey, you don't know it until you're there. So I want to be there. I want to
That's true.
understand what they're saying, and I want to be able to make the decisions that, as a player, when I viewed ownership decisions and I didn't agree with them, I obviously didn't have the experience of being an owner. So now, with my perspective, my unique perspective, being a player, having some front office experience, and being a business owner, like, how can I combine the three to be the best owner possible?
No, that's a great perspective. Do you find, because this world is still dominated by, we've heard the saying so much that it's become like the most overused cliche, the haves and the have-nots. Do you find that you're still being limited in a way by the haves, because in some people's perception, you're still one of the have-nots? Like, what's that been like? Like, has it been receptive of you? Because you went from a star player on a championship winning team, sort of moving off of that, has it been something where some people will be like, well, he can't do anything for me anymore. Let me just like forget about him. A lot of time that is the perception. It's like, well, you can't do anything for him anymore. So like, yeah, out of sight, out of mind. What's that experience been like with you? Have people been receptive to you as Brandon Miller, the businessman, the potential businessman, the entrepreneur, or have they just been like, oh, he's our former teammate or former, employee?
Yeah, I think there's definitely been relationships that I had before I retired, that haven't really continued, mainly because, like you said, there's not much I can do for them anymore, or that's their perception, and that's fine. I don't need to impress everyone. I don't need to maintain relationships with everyone. It's the people that believe in me and support in me, and see value in what I do and what I can bring to the table that are most important to me. And so I've had plenty of great conversations over the past few months, with people within the soccer world, people outside of the soccer world, who've been encouraging, who've been helpful and insightful, and are interested in helping me on my journey. And so, I don't really focus on what I've lost. I focus on what I've gained, and I think I've gained a lot of knowledge and a lot of great contacts, and increased my network a lot over the past year, and specifically over the past few months, as I've done professional speaking engagements. I've done some presentations. Like, I think those opportunities have really helped me grow as a person, as a leader, as a speaker. And so the opportunities will be there, and I'm just focusing on what's to come as opposed to what was behind me.
What was something that I like to ask my guests is, what was your family's reaction to you saying that you want to walk away? I'm assuming that you've probably spoken to them about this in the past, and it wasn't just like an all of a sudden, by the way, I'm quitting or retiring. What was it like when you said to them, I'm stepping away? Did they try to like talk you out of it? Did they say, are you sure? Like, what was that
Um,
conversation like?
Honestly, it wasn't really much of a conversation. I mean, I feel like every year for the past, like, 5 years, but people have always asked me, "Hey, are you still playing? Are you going to retire?" And this is in the prime of my career, so I've gotten the question often over the years, and so it's just one of those things where, hey, I'm moving on. All right, cool. What's the next step?
Nice.
It's not really much of a conversation. I'm kind of the person where I don't really seek a lot of people's opinions on important decisions in my life, unless I can get insight or things like that. But in terms of my career and my decision to step away from the game, that's on me. I think it was important for me to make that decision, as opposed to have other people's thoughts and opinions around it. It's about what's best for me, and move my journey moving forward. So it wasn't really much of a decision.
Nice. No, that's cool. All right. So 3 to 5 years, get as much experience as you can, a long-term goal, potentially maybe be a club owner. What business do you see yourself in that's still sort of, soccer adjacent or, athlete adjacent, that you can still have an impact without being a club owner? Because there's a lot that you can do. And I think we touched on this prior to us recording, just from talking to you. I see that potential because you were, a soccer. I feel that athletes have the most potential for leadership because you come from that teammate environment. You come from that experience where you're constantly surrounded by people and people are looking up to you. And in your role as a goalkeeper, you were a leader. Whether you're a team captain or not, that's sort of irrelevant because, there's team captains and then there's leaders. And, you don't always have to be the team captain to be the leader of a team, the person that someone looks up to or goes to for advice or goes to for, a shoulder or an ear to listen to. What do you see yourself? Because you have a lot of experience in dealing with people, and that is a very unique skill that people take for granted.
I think initially, and what I've been working on a lot over the past couple of years, is just player development and improving opportunities for players both on and off the field, improving playing conditions and working environments within, specifically within the USL, and then also providing players opportunities to make multiple streams of income off the field, increase their personal brands, and just make them aware of the opportunities that they have as a professional athlete. And so I think that initially is somewhere where I would like to start and really focus on that. But as well, I've got my first consulting gig probably about 6-7 months ago, and I was able to. This was outside the soccer world. I was able to help a company, kind of clean up their business, finances, and work on future opportunities and help the business grow and increase revenue. And so that's an area that I would love to stay in, is the consulting world, and specifically if I could do it in the soccer consulting world and help expansion clubs grow, help current clubs fix the way they're operating and bring in fresh new ideas. Like, I think that's something that I'm capable of, and it's something that excites me. And so just being in that space and helping soccer as a whole develop is what I want to do, whether it's from an ownership perspective or whether it's from kind of a grassroots perspective. I think I have the ability to do both.
No, absolutely. I think that's such a unique skill set. And I say skill set because it is a skill. And you have that, again, you've been dealing with people, different teammates come and go throughout the years. It's a rotating door sometimes in some teams and some, sports. So you have that, and now to be able to go in to a place and, just look at them and look at their finances and just have that perspective and be able to analyze what they're doing, from the outside. I think sometimes that's so key. I'm excited to see what you're going to do in the future. Brandon, I don't want to take up too much time, but the show is about you. So anything else that you want to put out there, please do. Let the people know how to reach you, how to find out more about you, how to contact you. If they work for some sports organization and they want more, they want insight, they need help, this is all about you. Go for it.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I'm looking to connect with as many people as possible, whether it's in the soccer world or beyond. I'm exploring opportunities, and with getting my MBA, I want to get as much experience in the business world as possible. So, as far as connecting with me, I have social media: Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. My Instagram and Twitter is DVOTWOSIX so you can find me on there. I've got links there where you can find and contact me. I've got my website for Prime Focus Goalkeeping, www.primefocusgoalkeeping.com. So you can contact me there. Or you can check out the apparel and gloves that we have. We have a blog, a podcast as well. So we really want to do as much in the goalkeeping space and providing educational resources for goalkeepers. So those are probably the best ways to contact me. I mean, I'm always available. I'm here and working. And so
absolutely. And I'll put all of that in the show notes as well. But I appreciate your time, Brandon. Thank you so much. I wish you a lot of success in the future going forward, because I think that you have a very bright future ahead of you. So this is great, man. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for having me on the show.